What do you think, Alan? It's finally put back together, mostly.
Better than before. Yeah.
We got these doors on. Still didn't get the handle back on, but do that later. And it actually opens way better now. Because before I would have to push in on the door and like kind of lift it up to open it. Now it just opens super easy.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was one of the complaints.
For one, we got new strikers.
Yes, look at that.
And then the main part was new hinge up here.
I somehow found another set of hinges for a 280Z.
Yeah, they're really hard to find. It was this upper hinge that has so much play in it, so the door just like move up and down.
Yeah. Yeah, this hinge right here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a hinge on the top. It has super amounts of play. I can literally like move the door like that.
And let's see it close.
I like how these things close.
That's a loud clunk.
It's like you're closing it.
Yeah, and the other side's done too. The other side's also
I'm
good.
going to show you the... Yeah, I've still got to put the outside door handles on, but it works. And it looks like it lines up pretty good too. These things are super heavy, by the way.
Yeah. Despite how they look.
They don't look that heavy. They're kind of like hollow-ish. You see, there's not much in there, but they're still super heavy. Alright, so that's on. I got the windshield on too. This is a replacement windshield, not OEM. The one I took out broke. It was cracked anyway. It had like rock chips here. It's a new windshield, new seal. This is the seal without the chrome trim, as you can see. There's no like spot for chrome trim to go into. You're probably not gonna be able to use your chrome trim anyway once you take it off, because it seemed like it's one-time install on those. Anyways, that's all done, and we're gonna put new brakes on. So here's the bigger rotor. It's vented. These are from a ZX. I forget. Yeah, I think it's a ZX. We got longer bolts, spacers that go behind it, and the Toyota 4-piston caliper. So I'm just gonna leave them silver. I do have the red paint, but these are already like coated, so I was like, whatever, I'll just run it like this. And it should stop better. Because you're getting 2 times the pistons and these are vented, so you get a lot more of the heat out. I'm gonna let Alan do this. He's the Datsun specialist here.
Yeah, look at these brakes. Look how small that is.
Can you see? It's kind of dark in there.
Oh.
Anyways, it's like the smallest brakes you've ever seen.
So these are solid rotors, which means they're gonna warp. And then you got 2 pistons.
I mean, that's pretty good. The piston's pretty good. It's a decent size or caliper, but the rotors itself is just solid, vented. See, that's what I mean by solid. Is there's just a solid piece of metal.
Yeah.
Like no air can get in between that and cool it down. So yeah, we got the upgrade kit that people usually do on these, and we'll see how it goes.
Alright, so I'm going to explain this really quickly, how to do this. So first thing we're going to do is take off this brake line right here. Make sure you use a line wrench. And then I got these little vacuum caps to block off that line so that all the fluid doesn't spill out. Then we're going to undo the caliper. And then we got to take out the bearing underneath this cap. So yeah, let's start out with this. So that makes it really easy. That comes out. And
Gotta cap it with your vacuum cap thing so it doesn't bleed. or a leak out. There you go. This will minimize bleeding the brakes. I mean, you're still gonna have to do it, but you don't want it to be dripping everywhere, right?
Yeah, less mess. Like, that's the only thing that spilled, and I could have put a towel under there if I wanted to, but... And his little clip right here. Oh, cheap.
Are those the crappy pliers?
Cheap snap-on. This bolt came loose. Okay, there's that. I think we're gonna need to keep that. I don't think.
You got another one.
Oh, did it?
It's in there.
Oh yeah, here it is. We'll still keep it just in case.
Sure.
So that comes out, and then what is that? 17, I think.
Look at that fancy ratcheting wrench. Best tool ever made?
That's one of my favorite tools that I've bought. So handy.
Yeah, were we using this hardline?
Uh,
Or was it just straight shot?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, they're just using this.
Yeah, because it's angled, so.
Sweet. Is that 17 you said?
Yep.
And these Toyota calibers are supposed to just bolt on. We'll see after we get the rotors off.
So, you know we need some Z brakes.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Brand new.
Look at those pads. They're brand new.
Alright, so there's that. And now, I think this part, a lot of people are not exactly sure what to do, because, you know, like most modern cars, the rotor will come off already. But on this car, we gotta take off this cap. It's gonna be like a big nut under there, and then it's gonna be some bearings.
We'll show you.
Yeah.
Alright, knock off that cap.
Okay. Little cotter pin there. Oh. Well, that broke.
We got another one of those.
I think we have a box of it. Okay, there's that. Little lock ring there. And then here's that nut. And now these aren't on really tight, so you could just use pliers. Okay, it's on tight. Okay, not that tight.
Yeah, but that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, they're not supposed to be that tight.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, what? You kind of just took it off at your hand.
Alright, so we got a big washer here, and here's the front bearing, or outer bearing. Pull this thing out. There's the spindle, knuckle, whatever. There's the inner bearing, and then also a seal. Now the way to take this off is we're going to take off these 4 bolts here, and that'll separate the hub from the rotor. Pretty easy once you see it, but I know the first time it'll be a little confusing.
you go. Rotor is separated from the hub.
Okay. So now, where did that spacer go? So this kit does have a spacer.
Yeah, it's for put it between the hub and the rotor.
You gotta make sure this thing is nice and clean. And that'll just go right there. Like that. And then, oh, I just made that dirty. And then this thing goes right there. That's it. And then came with longer bolts too.
Yeah, I love kits. You just get everything you need in one spot. Just blast on these new bolts on.
Get stuck on that lip. Should be good. Alright, so there it is.
Oh, yeah. Looks beefier. I like it.
Yeah. Now, normally I would recommend re-greasing this, but we did this pretty recently, so we don't really need to. And there's also a seal in there, but we're just gonna throw this back on.
We just did these brakes like a year ago, so.
Now the install is the reverse. I'm gonna stick this thing back on. Yep, already it looks way better.
Pretty serious looking, huh?
Alright, so they are like the same diameter, but the difference is that these are thicker and there's like a vent on the inside, whereas this one is just solid. So these will easily overheat and warp, which means your pedals start shaking and stuff. And remember that we're gonna take this car on track, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna smoke your Skyline. So.
Okay. So these vented rotors, it's gonna stay cool. It's not gonna warp as easily.
Ooh, you see the brake ducts too?
Where? Those?
Yeah. Those are for the brakes. I mean, it's supposed to be like pointing, like you're supposed to have a hose that goes to the brakes.
You should make something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyways, I'm gonna stick this bearing back in. Make sure the tapered, the smaller side goes inside, and the thicker side is outside. Then the little washer and the nut.
Here, explain how tight these nuts are supposed to be.
What I do, well, it's a little confusing because what I do is first I make them kind of snug like that, and then I just kind of spin it, see how it feels, and then I loosen it a little bit, and then tighten it again. It doesn't need to be that tight. Basically, you make it tight and then a little bit like, that's it.
Yeah, because if you tighten it too much, then the bearing will be like all fucked up, right?
Yep. Oh, this light's bright.
The light's kind of like reflecting off the rotor, making it look all weird.
So luckily we got a whole box of cotter pins. Always gotta be prepared. Let's use this one. There you go. It's pretty easy.
Basically done. Almost.
Alright, let's see.
Caliper. We got 4 piston. Look at that.
Let's see. Size comparison.
Dang, that looks cool. Super sick.
Alright. Do you use the same bolts?
Yeah, they didn't give us any other ones. It has to go through the same hub, right? Or knuckle.
So the instructions fail to mention that these calipers will not fit. They won't fit over this dust shield. So you have 2 options. Either cut it to make room for this new caliper, or just remove it. And I think we're just gonna remove it. So yeah, see how it just kind of hits. Oh well. Hopefully it just doesn't strip. Oh good.
You ever seen screws come off a Z so easily?
Don't jinx me.
You got it, see?
Okay, who needs dust shields?
Those probably going for like $1,000 a piece.
Alright, let's make sure this lines up. That should be perfect.
Should be. It should work.
It should be. Alright.
Alright, put this back on. Alright, we got the dust shield off. Now the caliper should be able to go on.
Yeah. And make sure the bleeder is pointing up, or else you're going to be bleeding this thing forever and it's not going to work.
Alright, show them.
This bleeder thing, make sure it's pointing up.
Yes.
Because you could put it on upside down.
It'll still go on,
Yeah.
but you won't be able to bleed it. There we go. Brake upgrade is on. Nice to have a full kit with everything you need. Look at that, looks pretty beefy.
Hopefully the wheel fits.
Oh yeah. That would suck if the wheel didn't fit.
Let's see if it does real quick. Should be fine. Yep, we're good.
Yeah, it wheel fits. Yeah, get a shot of those brakes in there. Yeah, that looks pretty serious. Sweet. So that's it for the install. Alright, so just took it out for a test drive. Brakes work great. Just kind of get some heat in them for the initial braking. Much better than stock. They fit right into these wheels. Yeah, plenty of room. Yep, car's coming along. Like I said, I just gotta do the hatch. Apparently the seals come out. The seal comes out pretty easy. Just gotta, cut here. I'm not gonna be using this trim. yep, that's pretty much the last thing. I gotta try and do it quick because it's getting cold and the paint won't cure correctly, but well, it was nice to take this car out for a drive. Still rips. So my next mod is to install this electric fan and get rid of that clutch fan. That's on my next to-do list. Of course this. But yeah, it looks great out in the natural daylight. I already broke a couple necks around the neighborhood. Just saying. What do you guys think about this seal? This is a seal that doesn't use the chrome trim anymore. I'm gonna end the video there. I forgot to mention where I got the kit from. I'll leave a link in the description. They're called Ceramine Motoring, something like that. Full kit, just bolted on. And yeah, hopefully you'll catch me on the track. That's the plan of this car. It's a track / daily. I know it's kind of, you have to pick one or the other, but we'll see. Anyways, peace.